Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms. These are Charter Moms Chats, and November means enrollment season. This is the time of year to do your research about what schools you want to apply for your kids to go to in the next school year, which is 2022-23, which I still am trying to wrap my head around the fact that that's the next school year. But today we're featuring Harmony Public Schools, which is a growing network of STEM-oriented schools here in San Antonio and in other cities in Texas, including Laredo and Brownsville in the South Texas region and Houston and beyond. So our resident expert on Harmony Public Schools is Marcy Andrade, and she is the District Director of Communications and Marketing for the South Texas region for Harmony Public Schools. So thank you, Marcy.
Sure. Good to see you, Inga. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. So I want to plug, today we're featuring the Harmony Public Schools Enrollment Guide blog post. You'll find it on our social media at SC Charter Moms, and it's also the most recent post on schartermoms.com. So there's lots of great stuff in that post, like links you can click on, but there's nothing better than, having a conversation. And if folks want to drop some comments, they can, Marcy can address those as we go. So, but okay, so for people who maybe haven't heard about Harmony Public Schools before, Marcy, can you talk about like the mission and vision of Harmony Public Schools?
Sure. Well, our mission is to ensure that we prepare every student for college and in a career and by providing a safe and caring environment. And obviously, we want to have a collaborative environment, collaborative atmosphere. We're definitely student centered. And we just really have a strong emphasis in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And our vision is to lead students into the classroom and out into the real world to be productive citizens.
Yeah, well, that I I appreciate the mission of Harmony Public Schools because it makes learning relevant because like STEM careers are growing, but also those aspects of being student centered and being caring, that's really important too, and like making sure students have the soft skills so that when they go out into those STEM careers, they can be leaders and they can be problem solvers and they can work as
Definitely.
a team. Yeah. So a place where I saw that in action was so earlier this fall there was an unveiling of the makerspace at Harmony School of Excellence. And so that's the Harmony campus that's kind of on the west side of town, and like in an old Kmart. And so from the street, like you see like, oh, there's a mural. It looks kind of interesting. But when you go inside, like it's amazing. And
It's a
there's
school.
yeah, it's a whole school inside. And then like in the center of the school, right, is the makerspace that has like all these amazing gadgets. So I was wondering if you could like talk more about like like the makerspace, like just sort of a microcosm of like,
Right.
like what's all the cool stuff and these are like, elementary kids that get to play with this stuff at
I know.
HSE.
Where was this stuff when we were kids, right? Yeah, so we had our makerspace reveal, is what we called it. Super excited for our pre-K through fifth graders at the Excellence campus under the leadership of Miss Barra, who is an amazing principal. We just love her, and the kids just got to tinker, and they're learning and working with 3D printers, drones, laser cutters, obviously computers, doing programming, all that stuff that's way complicated but way fun too. And these kids are just sponges and just loving every minute of it. And what I like about that is that maker space is a space for them to really um, explore. It's really an opportunity for them to explore, to kind of learn together, kind of for them to collaborate, do some hands-on learning, ask questions of each other, figure things out on their own under the leadership of a teacher, but the teacher's not standing there explaining every single piece of the puzzle to them, unless they have questions. But it's kind of an oversight and letting the kids kind of tinker and figure things out on their own, of course, with that oversight from the teacher. So it's an exciting thing for the kids. They love it. I think you got to thank you so much for being there, but I think you got to witness some of them in action. Um, Kids love to build different stuff using different things from Legos to using paper to working the 3D printers. And so we're just super excited about it.
I was really impressed. Like, like the teachers who came out and were like, unpacking all these boxes of and cases of things. They're like, so like one thing I noticed is like it's not like everything just stays on the shelf and stays perfect. It's like no, everything's like accessible. Everything's coming off the shelf. Things are getting used. And it's not just like there's like one or two drones. It's like no, there's a whole class set of drones. Like so the entire club can like fly the drones around, and then there's even like an obstacle course that the drones can fly through. So like
Yeah,
there's all these like whole activities around it. So
I
there's
know it.
not just like a concept that like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had these things? It's like no, these things are like getting used, and not just by a few kids, and not just by the older kids, but like the young kids get to do it. And what a great way to like like as you're welcoming students back on campus who maybe were in distance learning, and they need a little extra motivation, right, to understand the importance of going to school, because it's different and it's stressful, and like they haven't had to be away from home, and they haven't had to be independent and not have like their parents sitting next to them showing them what to do. Like
Right.
like what a natural way to like let their curiosity get them re-engaged with learning.
And what I love is that you walk in there and these kids are working on the at the tables, but they're also on the floor just, it's fun. And I can remember doing that as a kid, just playing on the floor. And it's like, why we don't do that as adults anymore? But the kids love it. And there's, they have clubs that are revolve around STEM activities, but then they exercise that every day of the week from pre-K to fifth grade. So it's really just building that foundation in STEM because, as we all know, that's where careers are. That's where uh, that's where everything's headed, if not already, right? So it's
Right.
only continuing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I want to ask you. You mentioned Principal Pata, is the new school leader at Harmony School of Excellence, and I was lucky. Not only did I get to meet her at the Makerspace reveal, but also, she wrote a guest post for us, and that's linked in the enrollment guide, and and it was great because like she was sharing like her perspective as like part of the Harmony team. So I was wondering if you could share like from your perspective, like what do the people of Harmony Public Schools bring to their work?
Well, I'm lucky that I'm at the district office, but I'm fortunate that I get to go and visit the campuses. So I really get to connect with teachers. And what I see are teachers that have high expectations. They're all ages, all different backgrounds and experiences, but they have a passion for learning and teaching. So they're constantly learning from each other. They collaborate. They do, it's called PLCs. And I know what that stands for. Like, I can't remember exactly. I don't want to
But
mess
it's
the
the idea is
acronym.
that it's like the teachers
Professional
are
learning
always
group
learning.
or something, professional learning. And so they're just innovative. They care about the students. They work together. Um, and there's a real sense of autonomy in their classroom. And just, I love meeting the teachers because they each bring something different.
Yeah, yeah. I could tell from being on campus at HSE, like they do love what they do. Some of them are a little shy, like they didn't necessarily want to be on camera, but
Yes,
they
but there's a real environment of community, and they really work together, which is good. Like they're in their classrooms, but they come together. And boy, if you go into that break room, that's where the magic happens. I mean, and no kid's going to get away with anything. Not that, from time to time, but they really communicate. There's a real sense of communication. Everybody knows what needs to happen. They work well together. Um, and I don't know. Teaching, it's just they're real passionate about it. And that's what it takes, really, right? They're not doing it for the money necessarily.
right, right. It's because they love kids and they want to
Right.
make a
And
difference
that's
for
and
them.
that's the
Yeah,
heart they have. And we love that.
yeah, yeah. Um, well, so I was wondering, kind of building on that, if you could share some like stories or examples that kind of show what the school culture is at Harmony Public Schools. I know in the blog post there's stories like I observed things like at visiting HSA, which is the high school, and like and seeing like the career pathways and things like that. So I encourage folks to like read the blog post too. But
Yes.
Marcia, I'm gonna be like you could share like things you've observed from from visiting campuses, like just to give people more of a sense of, the school culture at Harmony?
Well, we definitely have a family at Harmony. Like whenever somebody new comes, it's like, welcome to the Harmony family. That's kind of what we always say. You're right about the pathways. You got to see that firsthand. What I really like is by the time the students are at the scholars, because that's what we call them, are in eighth grade, they kind of pick a pathway to really, whether it's biomed or engineering or computer science or law or they really hone in on that. And so what they get are students who are already upperclassmen, so those juniors and seniors who come and talk to those eighth graders and say, this is what you can expect. You're going to do a capstone and you're going to work on a project. And this is kind of what the expectations are and kind of share their experiences so the kids aren't so afraid and they can ask questions about what to expect in the biomed pathway or the engineering and just kind of ask questions. The culture is, we love to bring in people who have real world experience because in theory is always great, but until you can actually talk to a nurse or a doctor or someone who's actually been there, done that, um, it really answers a lot of questions and opens your eyes to what the opportunities are in terms of a career. So, um, through outreach, that's happened. And several years ago, this is an interesting story. I was asked, we want to have a career fair for our eighth graders. So I said, great, I can do that. And so at the high school, at HSA, Harmony Science Academy, there's the middle school and then there's the high school on the two separate wings. And I was very familiar with the high school, and the middle school was, those folks are doing their thing. But so I brought in all these career pathway folks to come and talk to them, but I'd forgotten which classrooms they needed to be in and what teachers were with which classrooms. But here's where the culture comes in because I was in a full tilt panic. But one of the APs who was a current AP, Miss Bettis, who's lovely and talented and wonderful, she came to my rescue and says, "It's okay, Miss Andrade, I've got this for you." And it was her off period. She could have said, "That's not my problem. You dropped
Wow.
the ball," whatever she could have said, but she didn't. She really, it's a real collaboration, and she helped me, brought in other people, and so I'm not there all the time, and it was in the beginning of the school year, so it was getting people to the right classroom so that they can do their presentations. So that's the type of culture we have there, a culture of collaboration, a culture of doing home visits. I mean, our teachers really get to know their parents. They go to their homes. Of course, it's been a little challenging with the whole COVID uh, experience, but they do virtual home visits or when allowed, they meet outside, the weather permitting. They'll visit outside or on their front porches over a glass of hot tea or iced tea, depending on what the weather's like that day, and just really meet parents, get to know them, and that partnership really enhances education. I mean, it's a win win for all parties involved, and we know that education is a family and a school uh,
Yeah. It depends
priority.
on having,
It takes both.
yeah, it depends on having those relationships. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And we have counselors at the schools, and they're not counselors for behavior issues. Yes, they do address those, but they're also there to lead them and help them. Um, Especially this whole pandemic when students came back, it was a little bit of a shock for some of them. So, we are there for their social emotional health as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean the pathways are that's so instrumental for getting kids ready for the future. But there's work to do there as far as course selection, right? And
Oh yeah,
and planning and yeah, and
oh yeah.
so
It's
it
not an
takes
easy.
support. Yeah,
It really prepares them for college.
yeah, yeah.
The big four-way pathway, the 4-year pathway, rather. It really
That's right.
prepares them for that because you really have to be structured to prepare for this, for the project you're going to be working on. And it just takes a lot of planning. planning and research. And so it really prepares them.
Yeah, yeah. There's no shortcut, but there's a clear
No,
guide,
no,
and you
there's
can
no
get there.
shortcuts.
Yeah. Well, those are great stories about the school culture at Harmony. And I want to be sure and highlight the fact that Harmony is growing. And I got to go to the groundbreaking the other day at
Thank
Harmony School of
you.
Science. Oh, that was really fun.
You were
Um,
special because we wanted to keep it small.
Aw.
We wanted to keep it small for now. So thank you for being there.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah. I'm not used to going that far out of town unless I'm like going like hiking or state park or something. I'm kind of like I usually stay in my little bubble, but so yeah, so Harmony School site. So I guess to get there, I drove out 410 and then to like 151 and then past 1604 on Wiseman, right? And so then
Wiseman and West Creek in the Frontera neighborhood. Beautiful neighborhood. And we're on 20 acres there. We're building, and it's cleared out, and there's some big rocks um, that have been cleared out of the way. And it's going to be a pre K through 12 campus. We're opening in the fall of 2022, and we're excited. We've already had some children's scholars sign up already, sight unseen, because we don't have a building yet, but we're going to. We're going to have some awesome teachers, and it's just a great opportunity, a positive thing for that community. Um, just because it's going to offer more teaching jobs and more jobs in that community, more options. School choice is always a great option, as you always say, as we always say. But that first year, it's going to be pre-K through second, and then sixth grade, and then every year after that, we're going to open up new classrooms, new class levels. Ultimately, it's going to be a pre-K 12.
no, that's really exciting. That'll be the biggest campus in the
It
area.
will. And it's one of our
Yeah.
branded campuses. So Harmony has a new branded look, and it's going to be the first in San Antonio that is going to be that new model of kind of a state of the art um, school. And we're really proud, and I'm super excited. It is a bit of a hike, but it's going to be great for that community. It's about, I don't know that I clocked it, but it's about a mile out 1604.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but it makes so much sense to build there because that's a really fast growing part of San Antonio. So there's lots of families moving to the area, and it doesn't make sense for them to drive into town for
Right.
school. So like, and like you said, school choice is really important. Like,
It is.
there are great neighborhood public schools in that part of town, but some families want something different, and Harmony offers something unique. With like you talked about, like the STEM education, but also it's a family environment, and
It
the kids
is.
get this hands-on learning, and to bring all those elements together. It's a really great opportunity for the families on the far west side of San Antonio.
It is, and it's just one more option. And as we've talked about before, there's so many great schools, and it's not one size fits all. You find what works for you, and we're Harmony. We're here, and we want to make sure that you know about us and that we're an option. We're definitely a good option um, for a strong STEM education. And we teach all the standards, but we definitely emphasize the STEM.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we haven't even mentioned like the sports too. I mean, you mentioned extracurriculars, right? So there's STEM extracurriculars, right? Like we
Definitely
mentioned drone club, and then but then there's like fine arts extracurriculars, like what
music,
like yeah, music and dance, and then there's also
theater
lots
arts.
of sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this new campus is going to have a sports field, and so it's going to just really open. And we have a sports field at several of our campuses, but it's really going to open up some great opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. Okay, well, I want to make sure that we give people like the specific information on like how they can learn more, and like as I mentioned at the top of the show that this is open enrollment season, so this is the best
Yes,
time to get your application in and plan ahead. You can apply to multiple schools, but it's best to apply like during open enrollment before the lottery. So okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put up like the website.
That's it.
So, but go ahead and like, if you could give folks some advice on like how they can learn more about Harmony, besides just, visiting SA Charter Moms, but obviously they
Sure.
can go to the Harmony website and then they can contact particular campuses, right, for more
Right.
information.
We have our South Texas district. We have 3 campuses in San Antonio, really 4, because we are enrolling for that 4th. It's going to be called Harmony School of Science. That's so we have Harmony School of Science, which is going to be that new campus that we briefly talked about. And then we have Harmony Science Academy, which is a 6th through 12th campus. We have Miss Anna's campus, which is Harmony School of Excellence, pre-K through 5. And then we have Harmony School of Innovation, which is a pre-K through 8th grade. And that's over on the, what would that be called? It's off Glenmont.
Northeast side, kind of
Yes,
east
it would be the
northeast.
northeast side, correct.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they can go to harmonytx.org, the South Texas district, look at any of our campuses, and we're scheduling tours if you want to see our campus. We're out in the community. We have some SRCs, school recruitment coordinators who are out in the community. We're open to welcoming you into our schools if you want to take a look, if you want to visit. And we're going to have some, what's it called? Some Harmony days where they can, some scheduled days, open house days where they can come out and learn more.
Okay.
And I'll be sure to share those days with you as well.
Okay, good. Yeah, like I follow the Harmony Facebook pages, and then we share those in the group. Actually, so this is my chance to plug the SC Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook. So if anyone who's watching this and you're not already a member, please join. We broke 8,200 members.
Woo!
Keep growing. And what's great is like there are families who have kids at Harmony and can share about their experience on it. So you can come in and ask and find out more about what school is like, even like really specific questions like what's the earliest drop off at HSA or whatever. Like somebody probably in the group probably knows the answer. I was impressed by the level of detail in there. But yeah, so like in the group, like we share like when there's something big happening on the Harmony page, like so like I shared the video from the groundbreaking and and then I guess so like they can get more information on the website and they can also apply through the website, right?
Absolutely. harmonytx.org will get you to that apply, but you can also do the /apply. And it's pretty user friendly. We haven't had too many complaints, but we're definitely welcoming students and we'd love to have them.
Yeah. Okay. And then as far as like dates, so open enrollment began on November 1st, but it doesn't matter when in open enrollment you apply. They all get like, mixed up in the lottery, right? And the lottery will be sometime in early February, but after February 10th.
Correct. It's open enrollment is through February 10th, and then the lottery will happen, and we'll have more information on that. And you know how the classroom goes. If there's room, they're filled, and then if not, then there's a lottery system that goes into that. So there's no real anyone can apply. It's open. Please join us.
Yeah, and it's open across the region too. I think that's the key thing about charter schools. Like, there's no tuition, and you don't have to live in the particular neighborhood. So it open to me. It's a real path to equity because students, no matter where they live in town, can have access to schools that are giving a top quality education.
Right. What a concept, right?
Yeah, it's great. Oh, hey, we have Lori Atwood says hi.
Oh, awesome.
Hello, Lori. So yeah,
hi,
Lori works at a school on the south side. So that's just as I was talking about equity, right? So it doesn't matter what part of town you live in San Antonio, you deserve access to excellent schools.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I want to visit with Lori soon.
Yeah, well, I think they're having a great opening. I'll send you some info.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. we'll take care of that offline. So, but yeah. Okay.
And that's what's great about the charter school community. We're friends.
That's right.
We're friends. We all help each other out.
It's teamwork. Well, because it's all for the kids, right?
That's right. It's all for the kids.
And there's an understanding that like as each school gets more unique, some families are going to say, well, that's not for us, but within the whole range of charter school options out there, I think every family can find something that's going to work for them. That's going to help their kids
Absolutely.
get
And that's what
excited.
we want. We don't want there to be you don't want the child to struggle. You want them to find a place that's perfect for them and that works for the
Yeah,
family. And it's not
yeah,
one size fits all. There's a good fit for every child.
yeah, yeah. Well, great. Well, okay, so I'm going to pop it up on screen one more time, harmonytx.org. So that's where folks should go to find out more about the campuses in the South Texas region. They can find the application there. Keep an eye out for, like Marcy said, like, tours and like days when folks can visit the campuses and see for themselves, get a closer look. So I
Yeah.
hope that families do take a closer look at Harmony, especially I just want to get the word out about the new campus, Harmony School of Science, coming to the far west side. That's really exciting.
That's right. We're excited about that new campus. And like I said, we're going to be having open houses and we welcome folks now that things are opening up. Come on and we'll be there.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, Marcy, thank you so much for joining me on Charter Moms Chats. It was a treat
Thank you.
to see you. I love the cookies that you guys give out at events. Those are those are good sugar
Thanks. When
cookies.
you and Laura were at the makerspace, I wanted to make sure you got your cookies. So y'all were doing something, and I'm looking in your bag, and Laura looked at me. I said, "I just want to make sure you got your cookies."
Well, they're
She's
fantastic.
wonderful, by the way. You need to keep her.
Oh yes, Laura is a keeper. Yes. Shout out
Laura
to
is a
Laura.
keeper. Well, thank you, Inga. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Mercy. Okay,
Okay, take
bye.
care.